Hi, Autumn here. I'm excited to lead a guided meditation today entitled The Open Mind. You will need a regular pencil and eraser, your blaze colors, which are a golden yellow and an orange, Orion colors, which are a light blue and a dark blue, and unity colors, which are light purple and dark purple. I have some music set up. I have a pencil sharpener. I have my sketchbook and my creativity. Hope you can join me.
All right, as we get started, you're going to want to just create a head silhouette with possibly a nose, but the nose may or may not be needed. But don't, feel like you have to make this perfect. Just a head silhouette. And, I might make my chin here a little shorter. There. That's why erasers are very good. So, just a head silhouette like so. All right, so first, now that we have our head silhouette, we are going to put a eraser mark right here. So this head is open. So find a spot near the back there and just kind of erase part of your mark so there's an openness. Now we're going to grab our light blue and we're going to just basically color in the entire head here, and I'll explain what this kind of means. So, this is our head, our ideas. We're going to kind of leave this right here a little bit less opened here. But these are the ideas that you like the most. And you like them the most because you think about them a lot. These are all the things that you enjoy thinking about. And sometimes we have these patterns that we think about. And we think, well, I don't really like thinking about this pattern. For instance, something like we might doubt ourselves or our abilities, and we do it, consistently. We don't really like that we do that. However, that is a pattern in our brain. So we are going to think about that. Something about our brain likes it, right? There's some usefulness with that thought if it persists. Something perhaps to think about, to explore deeper. Perhaps that's not, that could be a surface thought, and there could be a deeper reason, and that thought is kind of blooming from the surface value or the deeper idea. So if you kind of see, I'm leaving like a little channel here as I'm coloring in my blue. So there's some statistic, like, I don't even know how many thoughts a day we have, like 10,000 or more thoughts a day. We're not even aware of how many thoughts we have, but we have a lot. And if you could think of our brain as like a train track, we've got lots of tracks that are used constantly, like those neural patterns. We've got lots of paths that are traveled frequently, like a train. And then we have some less used pathways that are going to be part of your open mind. So here we go. Here we are with our usual selves. This just represents, the thoughts that are normal to you, whether you want to call them positive, negative, neutral, personality thoughts, values, things that you love, ways you feel about certain things in the world that stay pretty much the same, right? And it is important. We're going to take this, we're going to actually make these little, it look like train tracks, neural pathways. And we're going to kind of make them almost like a snake. So if you see that, we're gonna put a bunch of those throughout this. And these just represent those well-traveled thoughts, those thoughts that kind of define our personality. And it can almost feel like if we didn't have those thoughts, we wouldn't be who we are. So these are pretty substantial pathways. These are the ones that don't change very often. These are, you know, unique to us, but also characteristic of us and important, and basically help us function. Like, some of these belief systems and thoughts are necessary for our daily thriving. So it's not like, you know, everything we think needs to change. Definitely, we have found a groove, right? We might even say that sometimes. We have found a groove with some of our beliefs. I'm just going to outline this in a little darker. This nose, and maybe this side is also, see what I'm doing right now is just outlining the silhouette in the blue. All right, so now we have this pathway. I want you to go ahead and you're going to make some of these pathways coming out, because you are typically sharing yourself with others and the world. So part of having an open mind is being open to communicate. No one would know some of the thoughts you have unless you share them. Now, we all have opinions on recent things that have been going on, whether it be politics or the pandemic or, you know, autism therapies and treatment. One of the things I might be thinking about is the autism services for my child. So I'm sharing those thoughts that come to me with others, and that takes communication, but it also takes confidence. So somewhere in our brain, we have this bedrock confidence that what we share is going to matter and make a difference, and it's important. So somewhere in here, I don't know where, let's just mark that. This one means I matter and I make a difference, and I want to share that with the world. All right, so now that we have this, I want you to take your blue again and just kind of make on one side of each line just a little blue shade. I think I've noticed over the course of my life, I've become more bold and more comfortable sharing myself. Like when I was younger, I had less open communication about everything in my head. I would be more reserved. And I think we kind of, you know, we care a lot about belonging and sense of worth. And as we get older, we start finding that in different places and not caring, not really like utilizing sharing ourselves as the main place we find that. So I found myself sharing more with my age. Okay, so now we're going to switch over to our blaze colors. We're going to talk about openness. So what happens when you openly share? Well, guess what? You'll run into something where somebody's going to give you a different idea. Someone is going to say, yeah, oh, that reminds me of this. And I'm just going to mark that with this bright light, kind of like an idea that, like a light bulb color, that you're not familiar with, you've never heard. And there's a few things you can do with that kind of thought, someone else's thought, when it comes your way. This, we're going to represent first you being really open and accepting the thoughts of someone else. Now we're going to put this little and shade a little bit here. So here's our blaze colors. We've got the, just, you know, and whatever you do, there's no mistakes. So if one's bigger than the other, that's fine. You want to blend in your yellow and your orange a little bit. And this is just representing other ideas coming to you because you've been bold enough to share your own. So it's kind of like a communication between these neurons going on here. And yeah, and this is just, you know, this is just the interaction of those ideas. It doesn't necessarily mean the assimilation of those ideas, which I'll talk with you about in a few minutes. But this just represents being open and listening and being in a place to receive feedback, ideas, even something that challenges beliefs you've held for a very long time. Definitely. I'm going to add one more here with my dark blue. I feel like I need like one more right here. So you might feel like as you're doing it, it needs one more little design. So color that in, put my blaze on. And sometimes if you get the yellow too close to the blue, it'll smear a little bit to green. Hey, that's okay. Perfectly fine. All right, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these little representations of listening and communing with other thoughts, not just what's inside your head, but things that might be completely new to you. Isn't that a beautiful image too? New ideas make such a beautiful little array there. Now, sometimes with an open mind, what happens is we don't like it. So we're gonna draw a few of what happens. You listen to the idea, but you reject it. So what does that look like? All right, it's gonna look like this. Here's a circle, and it just kind of wraps around. And we're gonna put the yellow inside. And a little bit of the orange. The blue, the dominant color on the outside here. And basically this means we've listened to the idea, but it's just not for us. But we can respect it. We're like holding space for that idea. We're not judging it as bad. It just doesn't really have a place with us. So I'm going to put 2 of those on, these little loops that represent, we'll call it like I hear you and I see you, but you're just not for me. Right? And I think that's something our society is lacking sometimes. We don't always believe we could do this, that we could just be a space for someone else's idea or opinion without assimilating it into ourselves and yet respectfully coexist with each other. So my drawing's going to have 2 of those. Maybe you want to make more. Mine's going to have 2 of those. All right, now we're going to talk about when something new comes to you and you actually assimilate it. So in here, we are going to just color this inside with your golden yellow. This is a space that you just allow yourself to change and grow. And it's an openness that keeps propelling you forward. With this space in you, you have resolve and resilience. Because when you come against problems that you don't know what to do, guess what? You can think outside the box. You can seek advice and help. You're open to just not knowing what to do sometimes. Accepting. This is such a humble place. To have this place in your brain is just so beautiful. And sometimes life creates this out of necessity. It just humbles us so that we do rely on each other, that we're not, just living on an island, I guess I would say, where like interdependent, needing each other. So just whatever you want to create this beautiful space, expansive space in your brain. This is where you nurture openness. And then we're going to do something really cool with this, because this is really awesome what's going to happen next. So let's talk about, after you get this kind of looking the way you want to look, let's talk about what we got going on in our drawing. So represented so far, we have our foundational beliefs and personality. Then we have the sharing of those beliefs and personality and how they interact with other ideas. Then we have the open space where we're open to ideas coming in and adopting them. Maybe we're going to turn them into part of our personality, or they're useful for us. They aren't there initially, but we're open to receiving. Now we're going to share the idea of this open-mindedness as if we are now sharing this. So take your orange, find one end of it, and you're going to wrap it around everything here. Okay? Find the other end of it here, and you're going to wrap it around everything here. Now, you're going to shade the outside. Hey, buddy. You're going to shade your outside of this. First, this is actually going to look more orange than yellow. This will look more orange than yellow. So this represents sharing the mindset of being open-minded. Okay, you're not just sharing ideas, but you're actually sharing the whole kit caboodle. That it is a value of yours. And what happens when we do this? Well, take that yellow and just over top, you're going to shade that. Make this like almost like a, looks like a really orange-yellow snake. Okay? And you're going to have two of those. And these are much darker than your inner lines. This is the open mind mindset. Now you're going to take your unity, and this is going to be fun, and you're going to make it really playful. So we're gonna use both the unity colors, but we're gonna make swirls. I don't know, whatever feels like playfulness to me. I'm gonna make a triangle. I'm gonna make some polka dots down here. What else feels playful to me? Maybe waves that go up in a pattern. Okay, maybe a few more triangles, since I'm kind of like, I got one triangle, so I want to put 3 triangles. And I want a few more circles. And I want some more squiggles. So this mindset, and this is so unifying. Just think about it. When we're open to the ideas of others, even if we're not going to utilize them, but we're going to be a space and listen, we bring so much unity to one another and freedom and space. Because if your friend is different from you, but they know, like, I can talk with this person about what I'm thinking right now, they don't bury it inside them. They don't suppress anything. And they start this process of sharing and being open to maybe your input, your ideas. But it all starts somewhere. It has to start by someone being very committed to being open-minded. If all you are is all you ever will be, then you really can't help anyone achieve anything greater than what they already are. Does that make sense? If you want to see others grow, you've got to be committed to growth as well. And growth is sometimes listening to ideas and reinforcing your own. that is growth, because you've eliminated other possible ideas or concepts, and you've reinforced what really matters to you. If you're never exposed to those other ideas and you hold on to yours, how do you know that yours are genuinely yours, right? Are they just given to you by your parents or your circumstance or what you've always done? You want to have your beliefs and your personality be yours. And the only way it can be yours is when you have an open mind. Truly, truly tested. I think of how much this would be awesome in social media, right? To really just let ideas and thoughts flow and not judge each other, and just have this space to either assimilate or just listen to others. All right, so now we're going to take our dark purple, and it's an accent color. So how do you want to accent this? I'm going to shade the side of my shapes, starting off here. Maybe I trace it and I shade the sides. We're just playing together. This is a space where there is no right and wrong. I want you to imagine an amusement park. This is kind of the imagery of it. Amusement park where you can go and just play and explore. And then you can tell people like, oh, that Ferris wheel, that was awesome, but here, watch out for this or that ride, or this one did that to me. And everybody said, oh, and everybody listened to each other's feedback on that, their experience of the amusement park, and found it valuable. I'm going to put like an accent. It's not going to look perfect, right? It's playful. I'm going to put some in here. Openness. I think of everything in my life when I look back and I say, what has helped me achieve all I've achieved in life? It has been an open mind. There are things that did not originate with me, that came to me through listening to others and being open to views different than my own. And is it always pleasant? I don't know. It can be. I mean, if you see you have these safeguards, I think, and you're very vocal about, hey, I can hear you and not adopt what you're telling me, I think it's totally pleasant. It doesn't have to be a painful experience to have an open mind or to have open communication with people. I think if we get to this level of respect, it can just be pleasant. It can feel good to the brain, like exercise. Now, sometimes we're going to let go. I want to also show you, if you let go of something in here, like you've held this belief for a really long time, but it doesn't serve you anymore, and you want to let it go. So I'm going to erase this one right here and watch what happens. Okay, I'm going to just color over it. Now, it's not going to erase completely because these are not erasable colored pencils. But you see, I have like this, what do you want to call it? I have a imprint right there of that. I'm going to take my orange. I'm going to put it around it like this. Kind of like to memorialize that and say, like, that was something that I held on to that then no longer served me. But I have a story now of how this helped me at one point in my time, in my life. And I can share that story with others, and maybe I can help them, expand or keep it or discard it, whatever. But here's a representation. So maybe you think about beliefs in your life that you've given up. We're just going to shade this one more time when we think about that. I think I forgot this one little part here. Life's a journey. So maybe we're going to, because we talk about life being a process and a journey, we're going to also shade that in with some of our unity. Get some unity on that in that brain. And I'm sure there's more places than just that. So let's just represent that by a light mark. Actually, my violet. Blue, light blue. And orange. And yellow. And unity. It's almost like it's not an active belief anymore, but it's part of us. And it was important. All of our beliefs do serve us in some way or another. So it's important to recognize, like, that belief served me. And now I can share that with others, and I can share my journey of opening and changing that belief. Let me give you a specific when it comes to autism. I remember when my son was really young, and first it was really disheartening that he wasn't speaking and just wasn't, developing like his sister. I'm going to represent that right here. And I just remember being in the shower one day and like crying, because you like to cry in the shower. No one else can see you there. Kind of get it out. And just thinking, well, what if autism isn't this horrible thing? What if it's just neutral? And it's kind of like whatever I do with it and how I respond to it is going to be what makes or breaks this, this life with my child. And it really, really helped me to just get to abandon the idea that there was one way to show up neurologically in the world, and that we can show up differently and relate to each other and learn from each other. So this belief right here might represent, me believing autism was bad and sad, and getting to a point where I can say I'm thankful for an autistic child and all I learned. And I don't think I would be sitting here doing this kind of open-mindedness if it wasn't for my son. So I've got to really reaffirm that in many ways. Autism has given me that philosophy on life, that openness is the way to go. So there we go. The open mind. Thank you for joining me during this guided meditation entitled The Open Mind. Please feel free to share your experience or your art in the comments. Thanks again.